everybody. So One Piece came out early this week, and this was a hype chapter. One Piece made the cover of Shonen Jump, and I don't know if you noticed this, but it's kind of foreshadowing what happens in the chapter, what we get in the cover, because Luffy has a box of mochi and he's eating it. So that's obviously some type of a hint, right, in terms of like foreshadowing Luffy versus Katakuri, which that's how the chapter ends. We also get this great summary color page with Nami there front and center, looking amazing, and some text that reads on the side, "The Whole Cake Island arc reaches its climax," and boy, did this chapter make it obvious that it's reaching its climax. I'm going to make a prediction. I'm pretty sure that after this chapter, and starting with this chapter, we are no longer going to get any meh chapters from here on out to the end of the year. The color spread also serves to highlight the rivalry between Zoro and Sanji, which is kind of cool because we haven't had those moments in a very long time. And I also kind of think that's a little bit of foreshadowing as well, in terms of, in order for Sanji to compete with Zoro, especially heading into Wano, Sanji needs to get a boost. He needs to get some type of a power-up in this arc. So you have the Mochi / Katakuri thing in the front page, and then you have the Sanji thing being addressed in a very indirect way in these front pages, in these cover pages. Not only that, but we have a quote from Roger, okay, in which he states, "Do not worry," okay, because everybody in this world sooner or later gets their time to shine. And I think that's a very direct message from Oda to his readers, in terms of him saying, don't lose faith, I got you, I got you. The time of your favorite character is coming. The night is darkest just before the dawn. Just wait a little bit longer. Shout out to the Sanji fanboys for being so patient. Now I have to admit that my first reaction when I started reading the chapter was that I thought that the entire chapter was going to be a flashback. I thought this week was going to be all about Pedro growing up, and then eventually the flashback would end with a cliffhanger. But no, it was a very short flashback. It starts out with Pedro being escorted back to Zou by Perospero. And there we just learned that when Pedro was a young cub, he really wanted to set sail alongside Roger and Odin, which didn't happen because Roger just pretty much rejected his offers, like, no, wait, your time is not now. It almost makes it seem, the way that Roger is talking, it makes it seem as if he's already sick, because he says that his time is limited. So he goes away, and then after that, little baby Wanda informs Pedro that Roger has passed away, that Roger is dead, and then eventually we know that Pedro goes out on this journey with the Nox pirates to try and find the poneglyphs, or at least a poneglyph. And despite the fact that we don't get to see Odin in the flashback itself, you kind of get the sense that through Pedro mentioning Roger and Odin's relationship, Oda is trying to execute some type of a parallel between Roger and Odin's relationship with Luffy and Momonosuke's relationship, or at least what that relationship will look like in the future. Also in the same chapter, you get to see both Luffy's and Roger's qualities as leaders shine through. You know, Roger pretty much essentially giving Pedro hope, giving Pedro an instruction to be patient and do what he has to do when the time comes, and then Luffy pretty much saying, you know, I'm leaving the sunny up to you guys, I trust you, I'll be back. He tells the crew that if they don't take advantage of this opportunity to escape right now, they won't be able to face Pedro again, which kind of implies that Pedro is still alive. Then again, he could mean like in the afterlife, we won't be able to, you know, face him in the afterlife, because if we don't take advantage of this opportunity, Pedro essentially died for nothing. It was a very confusing quote, I must say. But the whole point is that throughout this entire chapter, Luffy's actually acting like a captain, which is great to see. There's a little bit of a moment there where I thought Carrot was actually going to do something. Like usually in a lot of shonen, once somebody sacrifices themselves for the team, one of the remaining team members kind of gets really pissed off and they get like a rage power up. And so I thought that was what Oda was trying to do initially with Carrot, because she got a flashback to Pedro and how much like he meant to her and all that stuff. But then she goes in for Katakuri, and Katakuri just completely shuts it down. It's like, sit down, just takes a foot to her back. The mini Pedro flashback that she got was not strong enough for her to do anything against Katakuri. At first I thought that Luffy was going to go gear 4th there and then, because I saw steam coming out of his mouth. But anyway, he tries to land a couple of hits on Katakuri. Katakuri just kind of phases him out, you know, doing the exact same thing that he did in the previous chapter. And then he goes for an elephant gun, but instead of hitting him, he actually just grabs him, you know, just clutch. Now, to be fair, I definitely think that Katakuri was kind of nerfed for that to happen in the first place. There's a line where he even says like, oh, I understand. Yeah, if you do that, I won't be able to do anything. But it's like, if you can see what he's about to do, why don't you just dodge the elephant gun? Then again, all right, I think in order for Katakuri's power to be like focused, he has to sort of like just stay on point and just not get distracted. And I kind of think that maybe Carrot was the distraction that ended up sort of like throwing him off. When Carrot came in with the Electro, he kind of had to worry about her for a moment, and that distracted his attention from Luffy. And Luffy also makes the point that even if Katakuri can see what's going to happen, even if he can understand what's about to happen, he won't be able to do anything about it. It's kind of like a reference to what Capone said, that yeah, you have the power to see the future, but I have the power to change it. But if that's the case, it's kind of like you kind of question the purpose of like the future seeing abilities, or the future seeing ability aspect of observation haki in battle. Now, regardless of whether or not you think Katakuri was nerfed or not, the good news is that it gives us a pretty epic ending, so you kind of look the other way because it just sets up Luffy versus Katakuri. It almost feels like the start of a genuine 1v1 between these two. I mean, Luffy could pretty much start the fight or just start by just knocking out all of the fodder around him with King's Haki. So it definitely feels like a 1v1, especially because he decided to isolate himself from the rest of the crew. I mean, Jinbei's not there. He just broke the mirror. He's like, you know, no, this ship is setting sail. I'm the captain. I'm going to take care of you. So unless Sanji jumps in there, you know, via one of the other mirrors, then it could be a 2v1, but it definitely feels like a 1v1. And then that brings up the question, do you think that Luffy will be able to take out Katakuri in this manner? Because he needed Nami's help to defeat Cracker, all right? And I think we could all agree that Cracker is, you know, a couple of tiers, or maybe just one tier below Katakuri, but he's below Katakuri. That's the main point. He's around, Cracker to me is kind of like around near Doflamingo level. Then we have Smoothie, who hasn't done much of anything in this arc. Then again, that may be intentional. Maybe Oda wants to save her for later. So the question is, do you think that Luffy will be able to take down Katakuri in a 1v1? And before, I stand corrected, because before I actually said, well, what if Sanji jumps in there and it becomes a 2v1 or somebody helps him out? But the thing is, I don't think anybody at this moment can get in or out of the mirror world, because if you notice, there's a panel of Brule being knocked out, foaming at the mouth. And so I don't think that if she's knocked out, I don't think she'll be able to open up these portals for people to come in and out. That being said, though, I mean, I definitely think that if Luffy takes the W, we're going to have to see something new from him. When Luffy defeated Cracker, we pretty much got to see him unveil a brand new version of his original Gear 4th form. It was a more defensive type of mode that he used against Cracker, so I definitely expect him to sort of unveil something new in this fight against Katakuri. What are the odds? Look at the surroundings. Like, everything is very weird already. So, you know, and it's a very confined area. There's not a whole lot of, you know, space and stuff. I mean, granted, it's a very long corridor, but I think there's a reason for why it's a secluded area. I think it's because this is the time for Luffy to learn how to use Awakening. I've said this before, but it's not a coincidence that Katakuri's Devil Fruit ability is very similar in nature to that of Luffy's, okay? To the point where it was recently revealed that Katakuri is a Special Paramecia. So do not be surprised if during this fight, Katakuri has like a speech bubble or a thought bubble, where in which it is stated that, oh crap, this kid also has a Special Paramecia just like I do. Do not be surprised if that happens. I'm already like envisioning like Luffy grabbing the air like Whitebeard and just molding everything, turning it into rubber, and then pretty soon the mirror world will no longer be the mirror world. We will be fighting in rubber world at this rate, ladies and gentlemen. Make no mistake, unless Katakuri actually turns his surroundings into mochi, and then it'll be kind of like a clash between the rubber world and the mochi world. Pedro lost an arm in this chapter, which makes Pedro look very beastly, but also a lot more dead than I initially thought, because if that's what happened to Pedro, if Pedro actually lost an arm, then you can only imagine what ended up happening to Pedro, or what Pedro's body looks like at this point in time. And I thought it was very smartly handled by Oda, because there's a shot of Nami looking at the shore, and at first Oda wanted to tease the whole like, did Pedro survive? And you see the silhouette, but it turns out it's Pedro. But, you know, Oda getting us with that Pell tease. But I think the highlight of the chapter, for me at least, was how Oda handled the tension buildup all the way to them using Coupe de Burst to escape. So many things happening at the same time. It almost felt like a movie. Like, it's like, yeah, tick-tock, like the bomb is about to go off. You know, you have Big Mom chumping at the back, at the Sunny, just eating it up. You got Nami sweating bricks. You have Carrot mourning, grieving the loss of her fallen comrade. You got Luffy dealing with Katakuri, Jinbei trying to keep everything together. You got Brook and Chopper being released from Peros Candy, being able to take just a giant sigh of relief. And then you also have a Monday's cannon fire coming at them. So it was very well executed, I must say. Finally, guys, I'm just going to leave you with an idea.
that I thought of when I saw Luffy extend his arm to grab Brule to go inside of the mirror world. Just follow me, all right? I'm gonna set it up. I'm gonna set it up. So Luffy, at this point in time, is in the mirror world, okay? And he destroyed the exit to the Sunny. Like that mirror that was in Nami's room, broke it. The mirror's gone, all right? Brule is knocked out on the floor. And the first point that I'm trying to make is that at this point, we don't know how long it's going to take for Luffy to reunite once again with his crew. We assume it's after he defeats Katakuri at this point. However, we also know that Big Mom is known to have a vast, extended network of spies and informants, all right? That's essentially the thing that was set up in the beginning of the arc. It's like you don't show up to the party, she'll find you. She'll find some way of getting back to you. So she's a very well-connected woman. Lots and lots of sources, okay? Now here's the thing. We know that the arc that is supposed to come after Whole Cake Island is the Reverie. The Reverie takes place in Marijoa. And because of the distance between Marijoa and Whole Cake Island, at first you would think there's no possible way that one of the main characters will actually be able to witness the Reverie because they're just so far away. To the point where the consensus in the fandom, when it was first announced that we were going to get the Reverie, the consensus of the fandom was, this is probably going to be the first arc ever in which Luffy is not directly present. He's not directly involved. I mean, he's going to be talked about and stuff, but he won't be in the arc. However, what if one of those mirrors inside of the mirror world is an outlet, is an exit to Marijoa? If Brule is still unconscious at that point, he probably won't be able to step out of the mirror, but he will be able to listen to everything that is being said about him in that conference. That's it for me. Please let me know your thoughts down below. Like the video if you did. Really helps out the channel. Subscribe if you haven't, and I'll catch you guys later. Bye.